Holding the violin bow correctly is the first step in creating that beautiful sound that made you want to play the violin in the first place. A bow hold which is balanced, flexible, and consistent is key, but everybody's hands are different. So it's important to understand the function of each individual finger, as well as how all of the fingers work together to allow you to hold the bow in a way that's both good for the sound you want to make and good for your body. Hey, welcome to AltStrings Academy. In this free Academy lesson, we're going to learn how to hold the violin bow. If you want to download the free PDF book that goes along with this entire course series, head over to altstringsacademy.com/learnviolin. When we're done, it'd help me out a lot if you could comment below and let me know what you liked about this lesson and what you'd like to learn next. Then subscribe so you don't miss your next lesson. For this lesson, you're going to need a pencil and your violin bow. It's okay if you don't have a violin yet, just grab a pencil and follow along. The most important thing to remember when you are starting to play any instrument, but in particular violin, because we hold it with our head and our neck, they're very sensitive parts of our body, that you need to stay balanced, open, and relaxed. So if you are sitting, you want to find a spot where you're balanced on both of your sit bones, you're not leaning over to one side, and if you're standing, that you are balanced evenly on both of your feet. Then you want to make sure that your arms are hanging from your shoulders. You don't want to come at the violin like that. You just want to let them hang. So arms are hanging. Now your bow hand is your right hand. Even if you're left-handed, you need both hands to play the violin. You wouldn't play the piano backwards like that. I mean, I've seen some people do that. It's kind of fun to watch, but what we want to do is make sure that you are bowing with your right hand and doing the fingers with your left hand. Believe it or not, if you're left-handed, playing the normal way is actually kind of an advantage, because those of us that are right-handed like me always have to get up and running here with our left hand, and it's you have an advantage. Let me just put it that way. So trust me when I say you want to play it the regular way. So take your right hand, even if it's not your dominant hand, and I want you to give me a thumbs up. Now make it a really nice loose thumbs up. Don't go making a fist and giving me a thumbs up like that. You want to stay loose and open. All of your joints in your bow hold should be loose and open, always. That's why we're starting with a pencil, because it's not as heavy as a bow. And put your thumb on the finger side corner of your thumb tip on this pencil here. So if my hand is like this, the bow is going to rest here. It's kind of on the middle of the fingertip and also a little bit on the finger side corner of your thumb tip. That way you're not trying to do this, or even worse, backwards like that. You see my fingers are going to end up all over here. So the end result is going to be that your thumb is underneath and your fingers are on top. Okay, so you've got your thumb bent, it's loose, it's relaxed, it's open. You should feel like you can have a ball of some size, like a tennis ball or something like that, in your hand comfortably. We're not gonna make a fist like this at any point. All right, next up is the finger that goes across from the thumb, which is the middle finger. So if I were to take the pencil away, I should be making kind of the letter T. You see here with the middle finger and the thumb, I'm making a letter T. The part of my middle finger that's going to rest on the bow is this first crease, or somewhere over here if your fingers are kind of long. I don't have very long fingers compared to the size of my palm, so for me it's right in here, but if you have slightly longer fingers, it might make, especially a longer middle finger compared to your other fingers, your middle finger, it might rest a little bit more right in here. So I make my letter T, and then I'm gonna lightly hold the pencil, just like that, right in between. So you see I've still got my thumb, and I'm loose and open this way. I've got my thumb pointed at the stick, the tip of my thumb is pointed at the stick, and my middle finger is draped over the top of the stick. They're on opposite sides. I just took my letter T and I went chomp. Again, I can hold it this way because it's a pencil, it's very light, I don't have to worry about stressing out my thumb. I want to take a moment right now to make sure that you are staying relaxed and open. So go ahead and make sure your arm is hanging from your shoulder and you are not squeezing. I like to tell my students, I got this from my teacher trainer, Kathleen Spring. I like to tell my students that you want to hold the bow like you're holding a baby bird. If somebody handed you a baby bird, of course you wouldn't want to just drop it, but you also don't want to hold it too tight either because you'd hurt it. So just like that. When you go to put your bow on the string, you are going to be letting your arm weight relax through these fingers that are on top into the string like that. So you're actually not really going to be holding the whole weight of the bow like this. We'll get into that later. So, okay, so you've made your T. This is great. Now we're going to go ahead and drape your ring finger over the top as well. Now we are going to end up pronating, sort of turning the doorknob a little bit here with your hand. So don't worry that it's down as far as the middle finger. It's probably not as long as your middle finger anyway, so try to get it in this crease here. The job of this ring finger here is to work with the pinky, that we'll add in just a second, to control the tip of your bow. Your bow is much longer than this pencil, right? So we're going to go ahead and drape this in the front, and your pinky is going to curl and go a little bit behind the stick. So if this is like 12 o'clock here, I've got this on one side and this on the other side, right? If I've got it at like 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock or something like that. That is so that the pinky can kind of push it this way and the ring finger can kind of pull it that way. And then we can control the bow a little bit like that. So this is the middle of the teeter-totter of the seesaw here. And this is on one side and the whole weight of the bow, and this guy is going to be on the other side. Like that. So go ahead and use your other hand and see if you can get some flexibility in these fingers. You want to make sure that these knuckles in particular stay loose and relaxed and a little bit on the flat side like this. You don't want them like stuck out like that, hyperextended. You're going to get stuck like a cat in the doorway that doesn't want to go to the vet. You don't want your pinky to turn into that cat in the doorway. So check in on your fingers, make sure they're nice and loose and relaxed and open, and that you have flexibility in all your joints. Now we're going to go ahead and add the pointer finger. So this finger actually has two jobs. One is to transfer the weight of your arm through to the bow. So this is the one that's most responsible for that job. So your arm is heavy, and see, I'm holding the bow, or the pencil in this case, up with my hand, and I'm hanging my arm a little bit from this finger. Now you see I've pronated my hand, I've turned this doorknob in towards the center of my body so that I'm a little bit on the side of my pointer finger, on the side over here by my thumb, like that. And that's gonna get us a little bit more kind of in the middle of our thumb tip here. And that's totally okay. Your hand should be able to go back and forth a little bit. You don't want it to ever flop towards your pinky like this. Supinating is what we call that. You don't want that to happen. But we wanna go from here to here as we go throughout the length of the bow. So if you can kind of, like I said, turn the doorknob a little bit as you're doing this, that would be great. So you have this pronated a little bit, you've got the weight of your arm transferring through your pointer finger side, and it's also responsible for being able to do this. Yep, like that. So if you can do that, and you can do this, we're in good shape. Remember, you're not squeezing your bow hand. That's really super important. It's about to get even more important when we do this on the bow. So go ahead and grab your violin bow. We're gonna do it all again on the bow. Got your bow? Great. Now, if you don't have a bow, like if you're just doing this to see if you like the idea of learning the violin, or you like the idea of learning the violin with me, then that's totally great. Just do this all again on a pencil. If you do have your bow, you're going to hold it and turn this little screw righty-tighty until it pulls the hairs tight and you have about a gap in the middle here, about as wide as your pinky. It should still have a bow like that. So about as wide as your pinky, like that, give or take, and it still has a bow. That's why we call it a bow, right? Bowed like a horse's back, not like a bow and arrow, not that way. Please don't do that. You might break the bow up here at the tip. So, okay, let's learn how to do our bow hold on the actual bow. So thumbs up, nice and loose, give it a bend. Take that tip, that finger side of your thumb tip, and you're gonna put it right in here. So you see there's this frog block here. You'd think it would go there, but it doesn't actually go here. It goes on the stick in between the frog block and the leather. So you can put your thumb tip right in there. All right, so I'm going to have my thumb tip right here on the stick. And as you can see, you can actually see my thumbnail through the window there, meaning that I'm not holding it this way where my thumb could slip through, right? If I hold it on my thumb print, my thumb is gonna slip through and I'm gonna find that I'm really gonna have to squeeze and grab, and we don't want that. We want our bow holds to stay nice and loose and open. So the tip of your thumb, it's actually not even gonna go right underneath here. It's probably, if your bow is like this and it's like 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, it's probably like, I don't know, 4:30 or something like that. Like that. So you could come at it like that, a little bit underneath, a little bit on the side, maybe 4:30 or so on your clock. Just be sure not to touch the horsehairs too much because the oil from your skin will get all over the hair on the bow, and we can wash our own hair, but I mean, we could wash this horsehair, but it's better to just get it replaced so it doesn't grow back on the bow like it does for us. So anyway, here we are. So we've got the thumb at 4:30 and then the middle finger about at this crease on the other side of the bow, draped. It's not totally straight out like that. It's a little bit round and loose and open. So 4:30, 10:30 or so. Then we're gonna go ahead and drape the ring finger and put the pinky finger on the back. Again, I am supporting the weight of my bow with my left hand right now. I'm not trying to hold it in the air like that. If you try that for a second, you can feel how much weight is suddenly on your thumb. I don't recommend that. Go ahead and shift your weight back to you're holding it with your left hand and just making this shape on your bow here. Now you can point it at the ceiling too to help you go ahead and take all of the weight off of your bow. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. So here's your thumb. Your middle finger is on the side of the leather. See, got my leather here. Your bow might look a little bit different than mine here, and that's okay. Just trying to make it across from your thumb. Then you've got it draped here. And then your pinky finger is on the back, on the very tippy tip. Now I've had this bow for a very long time, and you can see that I haven't always kept my pinky fingernail as short as I should because it's sort of scraped off the varnish on this bow here. So you can see that it goes behind and the nail goes up on top like that. So that way your pinky finger can push this way and the ring finger can pull back the other way, like so. You can control the tip of the bow that way. All right, now let's add our pointer finger. You've got some pronation, so you're coming on the side of the finger, nice and loose and open. Everything should be able to just give you a view of this angle here where everything is open. You see, I'm not going like that. I'm not crunching it all together. Round and loose and open. All right, so that is your bow hold. Go ahead and point it at the ceiling, and I want you to just go ahead and try to relax everything like 5%. Make sure you're not holding your violin underneath this in case you drop it. I want to see how light you can hold this, how much you can let go without actually dropping the bow. You can do this over the bed if you're worried about dropping it, but I want to see how little effort you could possibly put into holding your bow. It's really important skill because if you start to squeeze and grab, you're going to introduce tension throughout your whole body, your whole arm structure here, and everything is going to just get really tense. So you want to make sure you are round and loose and open. Just to check, go ahead and take your left hand and push up with your palm on the screw and let your arm be heavy on your right arm. Let them go like that and see if you can kind of collapse and hang here from your thumb, and these fingers curl, and then you let go and let it spring back into place. This is something we're going to work on a little bit later in another lesson, but go ahead and test your flexibility. Likewise, if you can pull down on the screw and pull up, you're holding it here. So you're holding on right here with your thumb and your middle finger and let it spring back into place. Now push up, again, holding with your thumb and middle finger. If something is locked up somewhere, it's not going to work as well. So go ahead and get in a mirror or get a friend to help you figure out what it is that you're doing. If you're looking like this, it's not going to work. If you're looking like this, round and loose and open, you're in good shape. Nice neutral wrist. And we're going to go ahead and set this bow on your shoulder. Put it on your left shoulder. This is where your violin is going to go. Now, if you have, again, a neutral wrist, you're pronated a little bit, like not a whole lot, just a little bit, where you're kind of on the side of your pointer finger. Everything is round and loose and open. See, I can see you through my my bow hold here. Go ahead and let the weight of your arm hang from your shoulder and see if you can feel it hanging from your pointer finger and your middle finger. If you can do that, you are in good shape for the next lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on how to hold the bow. Remember, it's really important to get feedback on your playing to make sure you're doing it correctly. If you want to download the free PDF book that goes along with this entire course series, head over to AltStringsAcademy.com/learnviolin.